like re-recording things because it's just such a quiet kind of vibe, and you know, it is third shift. Don't touch your face, everybody. Like me, I'm being a damn fool. Which I did just wash and lotion my hands because my hands are so dry and so cracked. But I wanted to come on here because I wanted to talk about how I personally, you know, landed my first phlebotomy job finally, and kind of discuss like my phlebotomy journey because that is something that is, you know, a part of my life, and something that is, you know, kind of meaningful and precious to me, and you know, I figured it would inspire and maybe motivate some of you that are, you know, truly feeling in love with this field and drawn to it. So I just wanted to give a little bit of insight on that, kind of talk about how I went about it, and you know, just kind of get into, you know, the whole thing of it, because for some of us, like myself, it didn't really happen right overnight. You know, I would hear these bummer stories that, you know, people who weren't even certified in the simple sense of it, like a state certification and the schooling of it, were getting jobs, and I had this experience, like no experience in the field and no internship, but you know, we didn't have that platform, to kind of go from in my schooling experience when I got certified personally. So, you know, that journey was kind of tough, and my whole phlebotomy journey really started in 2013. Somebody had just simply suggested it to me at my gym job. They were like, you know, you're really intelligent, and they knew I was into the whole mortuary science thing at one point, that they had suggested, like, maybe I should go for my, you know, LPN, RN kind of thing. And I was like, well, you know, my nurse, or my aunt's a nurse, so I kind of just already had the feeling of like, okay, I knew a little bit about it, and I knew that with my personality, I don't know if that was quite the right fit, but a lot of people that go into like the mortuary science fields end up going into nursing. So that was kind of like one of the examples from, you know, one of the funeral directors that I am friends with, and then also one of the people that I worked with at the gym that was just kind of like trying to motivate and inspire me, I guess. Which was good because they did, you know, get me guessing, like thinking and readjusting things, and looking into the phlebotomy technician program. And it was really interesting and fun to me because, you know, it was like lab based, but you know, they had more of just like the blood side, a little bit of science, and it was like a good stepping stone, foot in the door. You know, you're working alongside nurses, you're working, you know, alongside all the cool, I love the lab. I think the lab is like the gem of the hospital, and I think it's such a nice thing to be a part of, and just a blessing to be a part of. It's really, really cool. I feel like it's where the cool kids are at. Not to knock anyone else. So yeah, so it was just really nice to like finally be here now that I'm here and now that I'm in it. But we'll take a little rewind, and we will kind of get into like, you know, when it all started, which was like I was saying, February of 2013, or actually it was before February because it was like a few month course. And so yeah, so I might like go back to that and then kind of show you guys, you know, the certification for my state, and then also just like kind of the things that we did to get there, and then kind of go through the journey of landing that job, because I got certified in 2014, but I didn't get my first phlebotomy job until 2017 because of course life, you know, ran its course. Things got in the way. They kind of appeared and things just took a different turn, but it was nothing bad. It was just life. So we will get back into that. I want to show you guys kind of some of the photos and things like this, but I might not be able to find. So it was really good because it was a small, intimate class. There was not a lot of distraction. I was super hyped, super focused, especially being on my own and like paying for the classes and schooling with the savings that I had for schooling. It made me like look at things in a new way. So contributing and living on my own, it really just struck something where I was like, okay, time to buckle down, time to like get with it. So we attended the night classes, and of course, eventually the course was so much fun. I really fell in love with it. It was perfect because it wasn't too many like classes and things like that. It wasn't like super intense. It was just really a perfect program for me. I'm a very visual, hands-on learner, so it was perfect. So we of course practiced sticks on each other. There wasn't that many in the class, so it wasn't like a big thing. We didn't have people from the outside coming in because for some reason like we weren't able to practice sticks on anyone. There was volunteers that wanted to and that would totally do it. But for some reason it wasn't that kind of school, I guess, at the time. I don't know. But nonetheless, we all passed. We even went out and celebrated and had like a nice celebratory dinner, us as a class. So that was really cool. Our teacher was like super cool. He's still helpful and supportive to this day. We're in a Facebook group. And like I said, because of technology and social media, and that healthcare world's kind of small, no matter where you jump from place to place in your specific state and area, you never know when you're going to see people again. So probably half of it, but the other half is just, like I said, the super support, of our teacher, and continuing on no matter when we needed help. So getting on through the rest of the story, when we did go through all that at the end of the class, because the certification was literally only for like our state or just in general that we took the program. It wasn't the official NHA certification, so he had mentioned if you wanted to pursue this, wanted to get a little bit more extra moolah, more knowledge, of course, and be just really, really official and go up the ladder, that you could go and take this NHA exam. But I was like all just examined out from our little class exam and thought, well, we don't really need it, so I didn't worry. But I would suggest that if they do offer that, and if they're talking about it, you might as well just go for it right then and there while everything is fresh in your mind. Study the material, and just get it over and done with there, so that way you can really set your career off, um, you know, to a super awesome start by having that extra knowledge and being able to make even a little extra bang for your buck as well. So let's. Okay, you guys, so it's officially the next day. I'm still kind of going over like the whole situation and going back in my mind like where we left off. So the cool news is, I found my original phlebotomy binder from 2014, of course, which was the February 2014 is when I officially got my little thing. Then we have more recently, I just literally got this because I've since been in other jobs. I would recommend, like I was saying before, do the NHA, get it out of the way, so that way you can just, go above and beyond and, rock it out. So, back to my thing. So I had an interview eventually because I was like so motivated. Like I moved back home. I was saving up to move to Florida actually. That never really worked out, of course. We'll find out why. But because of that, when I had my first phlebotomy interview with no intern or externship, they were kind of interested. I was very confident. I didn't know a lot, but I really just kind of have a passion for things. So that kind of helps a little bit. But unfortunately, I had mentioned at that time that, in the second interview, because the things went well, like the first interview, and then the second interview seems to be like a really good thing, like it's gonna go your way. And in this case, it actually did not. I ended up saying to them, like, oh, I'm going to be planning to move in 3 months' time, basically when I was applying. So I think they were, like, really interested. And then I really just, for some reason, like, dove myself under with that. So that was a bummer. That kind of, didn't really pan out so well. But nonetheless, I, try to keep trying and decided, okay, I'm going to take the summer off and collect my money, work 2 jobs, whatever. So I did that, and then I found out, hey, I'm pregnant because, kind of slacked off and just screwed around over the summer and whatever, found out. So that was a life altering, life changing thing. I took a break from that because obviously I figured, okay, having being pregnant, why try to apply for phlebotomy